So a few notes of interest to some of you. This is a real world logging saw. This is from Campbell logging. Notice this clutch cover right here. Notice right here. Also notice our dog. So the reason I've got this saw, our oil tank is busted, and if you don't put that oil cap in just right, it leaks oil. We also see some what I call log bumping going on. Muffler's dented a little bit, and we see another place where the crankcase is chipped. And in general, we're going to have to do a good cleaning up. But that's my general practice. We're going to clean out inside the fan, clean the flywheel, everything else. So getting started. All right, here's our inner bar plate, referring to this area. So here's where our chip guard goes. That's the inside of the clutch cover, made in Sweden. Here's our clutch drum, EM original. There's the part number, made in Canada. And then our Power Mate 7-tooth sprocket, 7-pin. This limit stop here is missing. So just kind of getting in there. Underside of the chain brake here is took a shot in time. So the saw laid briefly on its side, and we see the oil coming around the oil cap here. Here's inside the recoil cover. The starter pawls look pretty good, and the action of everything seems to be working all right. Here's the starter pulley, holding up well. It is not the original to this unit anyway. So we've emptied the oil tank, and we're just kind of scratching along, getting ready to take the handlebar off. So taking a small, what I call tuning driver, and cleaning out all of these holes so that our wrenches will fit in there. Like so. We're just scratching around and scratching all this dirt off, the stuff that we don't want inside the shop. Like so. Scratch, scratch, scratch. And so there's where we caught our bar and chain oil, and everything's in process, moving along smoothly. So here's the exhaust side of the piston. It looks very good. It's beautiful. Good coating with oil. The crank bearings are still good, but obviously we're going to split these cases. Here is the intake side, and it is beautiful. There is ghosting, but this has got a very good oil coat on it. And this is an original piston. It is shiny, the high hour logging saw. And you see this build up of grease right here, grease and debris. This one has been run hard and put up wet. Nevertheless, still running good. Just needs a crankcase. So for reference, the black wire goes on top of the kill switch and the blue wire on the bottom. it may not make any difference, but that's the way it's going back together. So in the other saw, I had to use a makeshift piston pin pusher to get the piston pin out. This one, because it's running smooth and did not go down, the piston pin slides right out. I didn't have to do any special finagling to get that out. So the top of our piston, we do have some carbon, which is not unusual. Again, really good looking piston. Depending on what the owner wants to do, we may put it back together just like that with that new piston or a new set of rings in the old piston. We may not. We'll leave it up to him. It's going to be up to his discretion. I'm okay with that if he's okay with that. But anyway, it's going to be up to him. Thought I'd show you that. So here's our clutch. Here's inside the clutch drum bearing. Came right off. We got a little rust in there. Saw has been in some water. No big deal. Just thought I'd show you a little bit of reference work. Still going. So here's inside our cylinder. Now this is the exhaust side. See the muffler? So there started to be a heavy wall of carbon on the exhaust side in the combustion chamber. But it looks very good. There is no scoring. It's very nice. And we'll clean that up, but we haven't begun cleaning yet. Notice the mirror shine inside there. Very nice cylinder. As far as damage goes, there is no damage. Very good looking cylinder. Now that right there, I believe, is some oil. No, it's not. Not sure what that is. Some discoloration. Now there is ghosting phenomenon. You might look at that, both on the piston and in the cylinder, but it looks very good. And I will clean that carbon up, as possibly do some performance work. And that's just up to the owner. All right, we've used a little heat and automatic transmission fluid, and we're going to spin our clutch off now. I'm very confident. Okay. There we go. This tool is available from Husqvarna, where you can make your own clutch removal tool. So here is our Husqvarna clutch tool, and then I'll show you the part number here. Right there's the part number, and this is HL Supply's website, so that is the proper Husqvarna tool, and this is what we used. And this is homemade 6.24 millimeter great neck socket. I said homemade, it's shop made. I suppose with enough skill you can build something like this. 1/2-inch drive, and we ran it on a 150 foot-pound impact. So within the studies of these various tools, they'll tell you that this will not work on the 385. I disagree. All right, we've removed our starter pawls. There's a washer under each one, as well as the return spring. Got those on a magnetic tray. I'm going to run the flywheel nut off. That easy. Got a washer under it. So, a note of interest, I say that a lot, I know. This washer sits like that on the flywheel, okay? Like a frisbee, like you would throw a flying disc. Sits like that on the flywheel, under the nut. I'm going to pull the flywheel now. I'm using a steel flywheel puller. Here's your part number. And likewise, I'll use Husqvarna tools on steel saws. So anyway, everything is run down equally. Okay. I'm going to put me a piece of wood in the crankcase and begin to gently turn. And off it comes very quickly. Okay, so that was, although that was violent, nothing's broken. That's the way it should come off. So we're pulled all the way down. We got to pull our oiler, oil pump drive, oil pump, all that business out, and we'll be ready to split the cases. So I'm going out in the yard in the grass to clean this thing up. It is filthy. I've got a rag stuffed in the crankshaft, and I'll take that out, of course, when we put the crankshaft or the crankcase splitter in there. But it's filthy. I'm going to clean it up best I can before I disassemble any further. We've done our cleanup as good as we're going to do it. I'll give you a look. And this is the side we need to replace because it's busted here and here. Here is the drive side, and while it's not in the other video, I'll show you how this drive gear comes out. And there was not a drive gear in the other crankcase split. We did take apart the oil pump chain brake system though. So that's basically it. You just counterclockwise, just like on steel, and lift it out. And here is the drive gear. So now we're going to take the oil pump out right here, take this inner bar plate off, take the chain brake cover off, and lift the oil pump out. We want it out of the way right now. And then we'll begin popping the crankcase screws loose. Alright, let's pop crankcase screws and oil pump screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice I put that wrench in there and wobble it around a little bit and push it in further. Wobble that debris out. 5, 6. Okay, pull all those out. Alright, 6 crankcase screws. Right there they are. They're all the same length. And these are the crankcase screws. 6, all the same length. For our oil pump, we've got 2 screws. And you have to lift this brass line out, and the oil pump will lift right out. It's pretty easy to do. We've got all the chain brake components removed and cleaned all that up already. So now we'll lift our oil pump out. I'll lift up on the end of this line ever so gently. And this tube has evidently received a shot in time. There we go. So So there, oil pumps out, and the pickup should come out pretty easy after it. It's not necessary to remove it. And there's your pickup. Here we go again. Same thing, a little bit of grease right here on the end of this tool. Okay, so the drive side pops real easy. A little bit of pressure on the flywheel side, a little bit of pressure on the drive side, and she pops. Okay, set that out of the way. Now this side, the drive side's in very good shape. Again, noticing those press-in bar studs, 9mm, not 12. Repetition for emphasis. And now we're going to go ahead and finish up the clutch side again. Not the clutch side, the flywheel side. Now I split the last case on the other side of the video, on the other side of the camera. I'm doing this one on this side. Just so you got a different view, two different views, the same job. Again, you want the crankshaft parallel with the lead screw. And you can't see what I'm doing. Okay. There we go. I think you're in view. Okay, we're out. Free and clear. And I recommend degreasing this tool if it sits out in open air. Here's our crankcase, half. Now we'll gently heat these cases and bump these bearings out, the cases that will be reused. So there's our tool, crankcases, and here's our good crank, which will go in the good crankcases. So here are our crankshafts out of the 385 Husqvarnas. So as an addendum or a tip, I want to put this in the video. The drive side breaks easiest. I would recommend breaking the drive side first, or splitting the drive side first, and then go to the flywheel side. That seems to work best. And here are our split crankcases. For everybody that watched, thank you for watching. Whatsoever your hands find to do, do it with all your might.